this is different.
And it's controlled by Sacramento. Eddie F. Rush, Rodney Mott, Orlando's Poole, the officials, and the Kings will have the opportunity to score first. Here's Bibby. 2-0 Sacramento.
Well, Mike Bibby over the years has had a lot of success against Tony Parker. A little bit bigger, a little stronger.
Here is Ginobili. Parker with the side pop.
Well, great patience by the Spurs. You saw the penetration, taking in one side, bringing out the other.
And the Kings turn it over as Bonzi Wells and Bruce Bowen collided, and the Spurs with a chance to take their first lead. Parker again.
You see Tony Parker has worked hard on his outside shot, and the stroke looking a little bit better.
He is shooting 54% this year from the floor.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you can see the stroke has definitely improved, and that happens with point guards. I think as they age, they get better at that phase of it, as they should.
Now Bibby cut off by Parker. They don't give you easy baskets when you're going against this team. Here's Brad Miller with the shot clock winding down, and the rebound taken by Duncan.
They do not give you easy baskets, and they basically will work to get easy ones themselves. Very patient team.
Parker now finds Nesterovic and Rasho. Oh boy, that did everything but fall.
They looked like Brad's free throw last night. Yep. Inside, outside, all around the town.
Here's Bonzi Wells, too strong, and again the rebound by the Spurs. So for the Kings, it's one shot and out.
Now, Bonzi has really not made that jump shot very well this year. Has played extremely well, but not made the perimeter shot consistently.
Kings have Bonzi on Bowen. Garcia is on Ginobili, and Duncan with the spin. Lost it. Good defense, and the Kings come up with the turnover.
It's a good match physically for Duncan as Mike Bibby tried to force one through.
Jerry, a problem that happened last night, 19 turnovers, and already in the first 2 minutes and 10 seconds, the Kings have turned it over twice. Can't beat a team as good as San Antonio giving the ball away.
No, you really have to value the basketball. Each possession extra important. Another turnover.
That's inexcusable right there.
It really is, and you're not going to get breakaway baskets against these guys. So you got to know that going in. That's what frustrates Rick Hallman right now, saying, guys, know who you're playing.
So that's the third turnover in the first 2.5 minutes. And a foul there on the Kings. Francisco picks up the foul as first. Not shooting.
Francisco coming over to help Sharif in that situation. But I like the match if Sharif doesn't get in foul trouble. But physically, certainly smaller than Duncan, but has the quick hands and quick feet to stay with Duncan probably better than anyone else.
Duncan and Ginobili play catch. And a pass to Nesterovic. Now that was a well-designed play by the Spurs.
Looked a little bit like the Kings as you see guards cutting off the high post.
4-point lead for the world champs. Again, if you're just joining us, no Peja Stojakovic. He's sitting this one out with a sore shooting hand, aggravating it last night. And Mike Bibby misses. So the Kings now start off this ball game 1 of 4 with 3 turnovers.
And they have not got anything inside. It's all been the perimeter when they have gotten shots.
Parker looked like he was fouled, and now it's tipped in. And the Spurs are up by 6. Nesterovic gets the basket.
Well, Kings really need to get a basket here just to get themselves settled down.
Here's the double team, and Ginobili knocked it out of bounds with 11 on the shot clock.
Which, as you see the ball get inside to Duncan, you're going to see Ginobili cut off the top and a little shovel pass inside to Nesterovic as everybody goes to Ginobili, and then Parker using his quickness to get right to the basket. Nesterovic with the tip.
Back to live action. The Kings down 6. Here's Bonzi Wells. And Duncan with his 3rd rebound. Nesterovic.
Well, that's pretty easy. Nesterovic looking like Will Chamberlain here early going, getting about 3 hoops at the basket.
Yeah, he's got 6 points and 2 rebounds. And we have played exactly 4 minutes, and Rick Adelman needs an early timeout. Rasho. Well, Peja Stojakovic not playing because of the sore hand, and without him, the Kings have only been able to score 2 points. Now, again, let's be honest here. We're talking about an outstanding defensive team. The Spurs only allow 89 points a ball game. But, Jerry, what would you like to see the Kings do that they haven't done yet in the first 4 minutes?
Well, just get it down the floor and get into your offense. That'd be a good start, and get the ball moving. Make the Spurs play a little defense. So far they haven't had to.
All right, let's see if they double on Abdur-Rahim. Yep, there's Ginobili. Garcia. And Francisco with a nice little move and a jumper from 12.
Well, Francisco saw the double team. Very crafty player. Knew that he had the chance to get the ball, and certainly with the size advantage over Parker, easy shot. So excellent move by the rookie.
And Ginobili throws it away. So the Kings will now get it off the turnover.
Now watch Francisco take the ball out from Abdur-Rahim. Now he knows Parker's picked him up. He says, hey, I'm 6'6". I can go over the top of Parker. Does just that.
Bibby gets the step on Parker. And they converged on Bibby with 3 black jerseys, and back the other way we go.
It was a good penetrating move by Mike. I think he thought he would get fouled. Didn't get the call.
Ginobili is wide open. Missed it. So Mano starts off 0-2, and he's missed 2 open shots.
The thing about Garcia, he's got some handling skills and can make plays for other guys.
And there's the Kings attacking the basket, and now they've scored 4 straight.
Looking a little more comfortable now. Making a couple of hoops will do that.
There's Bowen, and he gets inside, and the Spurs are up by 6. That's the first basket by Bruce Bowen, the defensive specialist. Also an outstanding three-point shooter.
Yeah, has gotten much better at just that, cutting without the basketball. For a couple of years, never scored going to the basket.
And that's an air ball.
And that's exactly what Francisco's got to avoid doing. So just fit in with the starters. You don't have to try to get creative.
Oh, what a pass from Parker to Nesterovic. Rasha has 8.
Oh, just a great look. Nobody saw that one coming except Tony Parker and Rasha Nesterovic. Boy, a little over-the-shoulder look. So the Spurs really putting on an early clinic here.
Well, they put on a clinic most nights. Here's Brad Miller. Short. And the Kings go back on defense. 14-6 the Spurs with 5:35 left here in the first quarter. Alley-oop, Duncan. And the lead is 10.
Well, again, Tony Parker and Duncan, just great eye contact, perfect pass. So it has been all San Antonio, and Parker creating so much havoc.
And as you can see, they're dominating the paint area. And the Kings, though, get one in the paint. And Bibby was fouled, and a chance for a three-point play.
That's just great look. Tony Parker, he's taking a look at Tim Duncan running the floor, a little eye contact. You saw him look at Tim Duncan. And now watch Mike Bibby go right into traffic, takes the contact underneath the arm of Nesterovic. That's a remarkable play by Mike Bibby.
And Nesterovic is checked out. Michael Finley, the former Mav, is in. Also in is Nazir Mohammed, who the Spurs picked up from the Knicks midway through last season, which really was a steal for them.
Yeah, and Mohammed started at center most of the year on that championship team. So, you can bring Mohammed and Finley in. That's not too bad, Grant.
Nope. Pop's going to call a timeout, and that gets us to the break. 5:16 left, and the Spurs lead 16-9.
Tony Parker to Tim Duncan. So Tony has his A game going early.
So the Spurs, let's set the lineup for you as Finley has come in the backcourt. Parker with Bowen, Duncan, and Mohammed, and the foul is called on Sacramento. And it's on Sharif. First foul on Abdur-Rahim, second team foul.
Well, I think Sharif and Bonzi Wells both kind of got together and said, we're going to kind of sting somebody here. They're just not going to let them run through the lane anytime they want to. Probably a good foul, in my estimation.
Here's Finley looking to post on Francisco. And that's just a veteran, but he missed it on the reverse.
Well, Bonzi Wells came over and got some of that basketball. That's why he missed it. So Bonzi, as usual, helping out on both ends.
Now Bonzi posting on Bowen. And he lost it, but it goes in. Wow. Bonzi Wells with a very fortunate roll of the basketball and a chance for the three-point play.
Well, Bonzi showing you some real power there. Bonzi taking it up. Nazir Mohammed comes. He takes the contact, but he kind of is able to squirt the ball up through. Here's another look at it. There's the contact. Bonzi took a pretty good lick, but able to keep on ticking.
Mohammed with the foul is first. Second team foul. And the free throw no good.
Bonzi has been struggling at the line. Like I say, he does not have the has a kind of an unusual rotation on the ball, a little bit of a knuckleball. Sometimes that creates problems for himself.
And the ball movement to Mohammed. Slapped away by Bonzi. Nice job. He's got Garcia on the wing. He'll take it all the way. And the rookie puts it up and in.
Absolutely great move to the hoop. Bonzi Wells threw it ahead, and Francisco Garcia, no hesitation with the finish. An outstanding play in the open court. Sacramento back in his game.
16-13. Garcia has 4. Here's Parker. No good. The rebound, Bonzi Wells.
Bonzi Wells, the power guard.
And Miller running the floor. Here's the kick out to nobody except for Robert Horry on the Spurs bench.
Watch as Bonzi Wells knocks this ball loose, and in the open floor throws it ahead to Francisco, and Francisco flying to the basket. That's an outstanding drive to the hoop.
Jerry, a number that we don't like if you're a Kings fan. That's 2 assists and 4 turnovers thus far.
That is a terrible number, and that's got to change.
Duncan, who loves to go glass from here, and he does just that.
And that's why he likes to go glass. He's really good at it.
Have you ever seen, seriously, anybody shoot the 15-footer off the window any better than Tim Duncan?
Well, Jamal Wilkes would be come to mind. I thought he was just great there. And, of course, Bill Walton in the foul.
And Bonzi had a couple of cracks at it.
Which, by the way, was a short prime, but he was great.
He had it for a little while.
He was great at using that glass.
18-13, so the Kings missed. What a quick move by Duncan, and he got away with a push in the back from Sharif. Sharif should have gotten a foul there. He pushed Duncan right in the small of the back.
Yeah, Duncan is amazed he didn't get the call, but that shot off the glass really set up that quick move to the hoop. So Duncan gets you one way or the other.
Yes, he does. 20-13. Here's Garcia, the catch and shoot. And look at the rookie. He's got 6. Wow.
Well, Francisco showing you, said, hey, coach, put me in, coach. I want to play. I think that's a John Fogerty song.
And Brad Miller fouls Parker. Good body control by Parker. And he has a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, here's Duncan with a dunk. Just a quick move past Sharif. Now Francisco, a little catch and shoot. Very quick with the catch and shoot. Francisco Garcia showing you a shot off the dribble, a catch and shoot, and a drive to the hoop. So that's pretty good for a rookie here in the first 8-10 minutes.
Brian Skinner is in for the Kings. A couple of substitutions. Brent Berry, who missed the last 6 games, is in. Bones has been out with an injury and feeling much better, and so he gets his first action in a while. Also, Alberto is in, the rookie from Argentina.
Always call him the Argentinian Mark Oberding, really a tough physical stepper.
And Bibby missed it, but it comes out to Garcia.
Alberto's a 30-year-old rookie.
Skinner, no one on him. Missed it.
Well, he really had an easy shot when he caught it, just didn't have confidence in that mid-range shot. And ended up taking a tough one off the dribble.
23-15, so the Kings were within 3. But now the Spurs have a chance to go back up by 10.
Fans and Rick Alvin not happy with that call.
4th team foul.
Official felt Mike Bibby hit Parker on the head.
So Tony Parker already with 7 points in his first quarter. Tony not a good free throw shooter, and you can see that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to tell you, Folsom Lake Ford, Folsom Lake Toyota want to offer you the opportunity to shoot a half-court shot to win a brand new car, truck, SUV to Kings game. Just stop by Folsom Lake Ford or Folsom Lake Toyota and register for your chance to win. Hard to believe that Parker shoots only 64% from the line.
It really is. I mean, he's a guy that's a good perimeter shooter. He should be a better free throw shooter. Sure, he'll develop in that, but probably just needs to maybe shoot a little more of a jump shot.
Oh, look at Brad Miller running the offense right to Mike Bibby. 24-17.
The Kings starting to get more comfortable in their offense, but of course you got to find a way to stop the other guys. They're comfortable as well.
There's Michael Finley from inside a 3-point circle. Rebound Miller. There's Bibby. And Mike. And nope. But he earns a trip to the foul line. So at least the Kings lately, they're starting to attack the basket, and they're getting to the foul line.
That's Brad Miller. Great pass, even better screen. Takes Parker out of the play. Michael Finley can't come in there to help quick enough, and Mike Bibby with the finish. So Brad Miller, good play on both ends, the screen and the pass.
Tony Parker on the foul. Kenny Thomas will come in after this first free throw. And Brad Miller will exit. So a very unusual lineup on the floor for Rick Adelman. Again, no Peja Stojakovic. So it's Thomas, Skinner, Garcia, Wells, and Bibby.
Well, certainly with no Tim Duncan on the floor, you can use a lot of different kinds of lineups. So I think that's what Rick Adelman feels right now. As long as Duncan's out, you can try a lot of different combos.
24-19. 1:25 left here in the opening quarter. Parker. And a foul called, and it's on the Spurs. So Tony Parker gets called for a second foul.
There's Tony Parker turning the corner here, and you see him kind of wipe away Brian Skinner there, and that's officials saw that.
Francisco, no, front iron. Finley with the rebound. And look at Bonzi. And Bonzi comes up with the steal, but he gives it right back. And one bad play for Wells after a great play, and now they foul Parker, and Tony Parker will go to the line. So Jerry, the Kings had a chance to cut it to 24-21, but Bonzi, the hustle, and then he turns it over.
Well, it's just a case we've seen that the players have got to understand what they can and can't do. Can't wish plays. Great hustle here by Bonzi, but you see throwing it into a little bit of traffic. A bad possession, a bad shot's better than no possession and no shot.
Kevin Martin will come in after this first free throw with 54 seconds left. Tony Parker, again, a 64% shooter. He has 8 points here in the first quarter, along with 2 assists.
Well, all things considering, this is pretty remarkable. The Kings are this close, considering the Spurs shooting 60%.
Yep. Both teams will have turned it over 5 times. And Garcia will exit. Nice start for Francisco tonight. 6 points, 2 rebounds. Got his feet wet.
Yeah, he got him wet. Manny got him all the way up to his rear. I mean, that was a pretty nice outing for the rookie.
And it's 25-19. So Kevin Martin in for the Kings. Bibby. Shot clock at 7. And a rebound of Berto as Martin couldn't pop it home. Finley, here's a 3. And the Kings had the ball, but they ran into each other, and the Spurs now will hold for the final opportunity.
It looked like Brian Skinner had control of that. Kevin Martin didn't know it, knocked it loose. As you can see, Michael Finley is becoming more of a perimeter shooter. Does not have the ability to drive like he once did when he was younger.
Parker over Kenny Thomas. Second left. They're going to call King's ball.
Nazir Mohammed had an elbow, inadvertent elbow, but an elbow nonetheless right in the face of Brian Skinner.
1 second left. And Bibby gives the effort, but it's not there. So Sacramento through 1 quarter. They shoot just 34%. The Spurs at 55%. But it's only a 6-point lead for the world champion.
The fury of Kerr right there.
All right, our Cache Creek question of the game, brought to you by Cache Creek Casino and Resort, California's finest casino resort. Which 3 men have the highest win percentage among active NBA head coaches, a minimum of 400 games? We'll have the answer for you in a little bit. Well, the Kings, Jerry, have missed 6 of the last 8 from the floor, and they did not make a basket over the last 2 minutes.
No, and a lot of that's just turning the ball over. So started off the quarter turning it over and then kind of finished turning it over. But in between, there was some very good play, especially Francisco Garcia certainly stepped in and showed that he belongs in the league.
Mike Bibby, Jason Hart with Martin, Thomas, and Skinner. Dick Van Exel is in for the Spurs, along with Ginobili, Brent Berry, Mohammed, and Roberto. And Brent Berry missed the Would have been a pretty back reverse there. So the Kings have it down 6. Thomas draws the double team. Bibby gets by Ginobili. Nice rebound by Mike. Missed it, but then the follow by Skinner. What a nice job by Mike Bibby.
And a great follow, Brian Skinner. Mike Bibby is showing you that little floater, staying with it, and then give Skinner the opportunity to use his quick hops.
25-21. Brent Berry sneaks behind the Sacramento defense, gets the return. And the two-pointer no good. Rebound Martin.
Like Kevin Martin just finds his point guard.
Kenny Thomas. And a loose ball foul, and it's on San Antonio's Muhammad.
That's Mike Bibby, the great little runner. Stays with it, little tip, puts it up again, can't get it. There's Brian Skinner with the excellent effort.
First team foul of this second quarter. And now Nesterovic will come in. Muhammad out. So Muhammad with 2 fouls sits.
Nesterovic extremely effective in that first quarter.
Yep, he had 8 points and 3 rebounds in 8 minutes. Bibby inside the circle, yes. Two-pointer for Mike Bibby, and it's 25-23.
Brent Berry got switched off on Mike Bibby. That's a tough matchup for Brent, who regards shooting guards.
Brent, not a great defender, obviously, to begin with. And Ginobili powers in. He has become so good at that.
Yeah, not many can get to the basket like Manu Ginobili. Like I say, it doesn't look he's 6'6", but he is.
Well, he reminds me so much of Sharunas Marciulionis when he lowers that shoulder and goes to the basket.
Does it a little quicker, but not as strong as old Rooney
but
was.
The end result was the same, you know?
Yeah, Rooney would, of course, a lot of guys just avoided Rooney and he'd run backwards. I mean, he'd put a welt on you.
27-23, Ginobili again. And Manu Ginobili now has 4.
Manu Ginobili, he's had some remarkable games. He's been an all-star, so you know he can put up numbers.
That's what makes this Spurs team so good. I mean, they just come at you in waves.
Yeah, you know, they are a team. I mean, they definitely unselfish.
Air ball.
Just not a good shot by Kevin Martin. Brent Berry running out, and Jason Hart going for the steal. Runs right into Berry. Nice hustle, but foul nonetheless. And here's Nick Van Exel throwing the ball ahead to Brent Berry. You see Jason Hart thinks he has a chance for it. That's a good hustle play. Unfortunately, runs right into Brent Berry.
And now Rick Adelman will take a timeout with 9:42 left. So the Kings were within 2, but all of a sudden, back-to-back baskets by San Antonio, and it's 29-23.
And also drove the ball to the basket. So Garcia has did exactly what you'd want a young player to do. Very talented, skilled guy. He has a complete game. Certainly doesn't have the experience, and that's all he really needs. But for 6 points, 2 rebounds, he did have one kind of fourth shot in that 10-minute stretch.
That's part of the learning curve.
I think it's going to be a short curve for Francisco.
All right, the Spurs out of the lineup, or out of the huddle with the same lineup, I should say. And Brent Berry, and that's an offensive foul. You don't see that called a lot, but that's the correct call.
Well, yeah, Kevin Martin definitely had the position, a little ball fake, got him up, but Brent Berry went right into Martin, so official right there.
So the Kings get it. That is the 6th turnover for the Spurs, but the Kings have only scored 2 points off turnovers. And they're going to call an offensive foul.
So here's you see, as Brent Berry gets the ball fake, you see Martin go up, but he comes straight down. So he's entitled to his position on the floor. Principal verticality, up and down the same spot.
Jerry, the call there was not a foul. It was an illegal screen set by the Kings out of bounds.
Well, that is, if they were out of bounds, that's a correct call.
And now Bonzi Wells will enter. Also Tim Duncan coming in. Roberto out. 6-point game. Here's Brent Berry. And the rebound taken by Thomas. Berry making his first appearance after missing 6 with an injury, a little rusty. And last touch by San Antonio. 17 on the shot clock. And now Sharif Abdul-Rahim's going to come back in.
Yeah, Sharif, interesting to see the matchups here, whether he will take Naserovic or Duncan.
Here's Kenny Thomas against Tim Duncan. Stays with it. Jason Hart. And a foul called on Van Exel. He's got very fortunate there.
Very fortunate. Kenny Thomas really put up a shot, had no chance. Very difficult to go one-on-one against Tim Duncan. That's not going to succeed very often.
And Mike Bibby will get his first rest, and Francisco Garcia coming in.
Well, Mike played big minutes last night. He's going to have to play big minutes again tonight.
Garcia back in. Sharif. A little bit too strong. Rebounded by Hart. Here's Kenny Thomas. His bread and butter. Not this time. Rebound Bowen.
Well, that's what Kenny needs to do, is just take that shot. You don't need anything better, and I didn't make it. But as you said, that's a shot he'll hit a high percentage of. Sometimes he wants to make something better off the dribble, and usually doesn't get something better.
And Duncan draws the foul, and it counts. Actually, they're going to call the foul on the floor. No continuation.
Boy, Kings just amazing. Still within 6, only shooting 31%.
Yep.
So
that's a perfect example. I mean, the Kings are playing hard. The effort's certainly there. They're just not making shots when they do have the opportunity.
And exactly. I mean, they certainly out hustling the Spurs, if anything.
Ginobili. And who they call that foul on? And you hear the reaction from the crowd as Francisco Garcia just got called for a second.
And I think this just took the officials by surprise. Francisco steps in. Look here, just takes the ball. That's a jump ball. It is a jump ball. J-U-M-P-B-A-L-L jump ball.
And they just showed it on the big screen, and you hear the reaction from the crowd as Ginobili missed a free throw.
But I tell you, I think what happens there, I mean, Ginobili is so quick, it just simply surprised the officials. And I mean, Francisco Garcia is a little bit unknown, but he's going to become known if he can continue to make plays like that.
Well, the problem is, I mean, it was a bad call, as you clearly saw, and now Garcia has 3 fouls. So the officials, with a bad call, they take a player off the floor. 30-23. Corliss Williamson in. Rick Adelman using the entire bench for the most part here in the first half. No Stojakovic tonight with a sore hand. Jason Hart. There it is. What a bonus that is if Jason Hart can score from the outside. 5-point game. Jerry, one of the interesting things about the Spurs as you look at this lineup is Nick Van Exel. How much will he be able to give the Spurs, a guy that's been bothered by injuries the last 2 years? There's Bruce Bowen with the long jumper, but Van Exel, the veteran point guard.
Well, I mean, I think he's got something left, no doubt about it. And certainly with all the double teams that Duncan will draw.
Bonzi Wells, and he knifes through the San Antonio defense.
The Kings starting to get a better quality of shot, and of course they're doing it because they're being more aggressive and more patient.
And Corliss Williamson altered that shot from Bruce Bowen. Williamson open, and how about that pass from Bonzi Wells?
Well, Bonzi Wells saw a big nasty rolling down the lane, got him the ball perfectly nasty, squeezed it in the rim.
And you hear the crowd coming to their feet as the Kings have pulled it within 3. 7 minutes left. 32-29 the Spurs, and let's see if Jerry can answer the question from Cache Creek Casino Resort. And you have that, Jerry?
Yeah, I think I do. I think it's probably Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, and Rick Adelman would be my guess. See, you guys keep trying. You got to keep trying. I admire you for it, but don't go head-to-head with the Caucasian comic.
No, and boy, Pop was hot during that timeout, and he's still a little upset.
Yeah, he's still got a few things to say, but Popovich got a little Jerry Sloan in him. You know, he's not going to hold his emotions back. Yeah, he's chewing out his assistant coaches, I think, just to make himself feel a little better.
32-29. All right, it's Duncan down on the front line with Bowen and Mohammed, the backcourt of Parker and Ginobili. 6:55 left here in the first half, and the Spurs lead by 3. Duncan 3 of 3 in the ball game. Good defense by Brad Miller, and Duncan still scores.
Yeah, just a great player making a great shot.
34-29. Williamson, good patience. And now the Kings turn it over. 7th Sacramento turnover. One thing that was very clear during that timeout, Pop said, Tim, we need you to start scoring.
And I think he's listened to Pop, and I think he probably mentioned to Pop or to Duncan's teammates, find Tim Duncan. He's on the floor getting the ball.
Now the Kings committing too many turnovers again. That's 9 points that they have given off turnovers. Bonzi Wells to catch and shoot. No good. Rebound Duncan. Duncan almost with a double-double. He's got 10 points and 7 rebounds with 5:50 left here in the half. And Bowen, no. Bowen, who's a better 3-point shooter than he is a 2-point shooter.
Primarily, most of his 2-point shots come with a little bit of dribble attached to him, and that he definitely needs to spot shoot.
Sharif spinning. Brad Miller is open. And a foul on Tim Duncan, pushing from behind. First foul on Duncan. And Mike Bibby will come back in for Sacramento, and Michael Finley in for the Spurs.
Spurs doing a pretty good job trying to force Brad Miller, Sharif Abdul even higher up off the elbow, get him a foot or two further out on the court than they would like to be. You see Brad having to catch the ball out past the 3-point arc.
And nicely done. Corliss Williamson from Brad Miller, and for Miller it's his 4th assist. And if you're Sacramento, you just hope you can keep this close until the 4th quarter, Jerry. And you know what happens with this Arco Arena crowd as Bowen, that's his forte. He's over 60% from beyond the arc, but keep close against this superior team without Pacers Stojakovic and try to steal it at the end.
Yeah, the emotion might carry you through, but boy, you've got to find a way to find that those open shooters. And boy, a remarkable drive by Bonzi. Just took on the entire crew of black shirts at the hoop.
39-33, Bonzi has 6. Parker, and a trip foul called on the Kings.
Pretty good look at Bonzi Wells at his best. Really a power guard, goes right at everybody, and then they reverse on the other side of the hoop with control. Bonzi very good.
Terrible call that they just made on Corliss Williamson. Absolutely terrible. They just showed it on the big screen again, and he was just standing there. He did not move his leg at all.
Well, Tony Parker getting to the line, and Rick Adelman still not happy about it. It's not going to change a lot, but very frustrating when you make a pretty good defensive play and don't get credit.
Actually, they're going to call the foul on Sharif. That is on Williamson, that's correct. Well, they show that replay on the big screen. He was just standing there. And Parker makes the first.
Well, that's one of those things. It's like, well, yes, he fell down, but it's his own fault. I mean, that's
well, it cost the Kings 2 points, and it's 41-33. And a foul is called. And well, here's that previous play. Now watch Corliss Williamson at the top of the screen, Jerry. Alberto is back in for San Antonio. That foul was on the Sterovich, was it?
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah, Corliss just standing there, and Tony Parker did trip over Corliss, but he had position.
13 for Bibby.
But almost inconsistently, that's about the way that call will be made.
41-35. And there's the glass from Tim Duncan, and he has 12.
Boy, he's just a machine.
He is.
Really doesn't show a lot of emotion, just goes about his job, so professional, kind of a throwback player.
And he was out here at 5:15 tonight working out. Skinner, no, rebound by the Spurs. And right now, Tim Duncan trying to take over the game, but he missed that with the offhand.
Really a great look by Tim Duncan with that left hand, very smooth, just missed.
Corliss from the elbow. Nope. And the Spurs have it. They had a chance to go up by double digits. Just over 3 minutes left here in the half. Boy, what changing of directions by Tony Parker.
Yeah, Tony with his quickness just spun Mike around, and by the time he got to the hoop, no one was able to adjust. So Tony Parker, Tim Duncan doing what they do.
Wow. Talk about stopping on a dime. Tony Parker has 13. 10 on the shot clock. Bonzi determined. Missed it.
Oh, great move. Got out of a lot of trouble and then not able to finish.
And they've got Duncan for an illegal screen. Second foul.
Corliss at the basket, so the Kings bench really outperforming the vaunted Spurs bench. I think a lot of people feel that Spurs may have as good a bench as there is in the league, but thus far, Kings 8-zip on bench points. So that'll be a nice confidence boost for the Kings bench.
And hold everything. There's a foul on Miller. And that will get Rick Adams up off the bench.
Well, consistently what the Spurs are trying to do is really body up and make it tough on the Kings to get that ball. High post guys getting the ball at that elbow area, and Brad frustrated by that.
That's the second foul on Brad Miller. The fourth. Actually, it's an offensive foul, so it's not a team foul. So Jerry, the Maverick, or the former Mav and the former Warrior, been a lot of former teams for Nick Van Exel, but now he's the backup for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, former Laker, former Nugget.
Yep.
And he's made a lot of baskets everywhere he's been, but of course on this team, he just needs to be able to spot up and play if the ball's kicked out when the Mr. Fundamental, as Tim Duncan's called, needs him.
Largest lead. Tim Duncan has 14. There's Bibby. And finally, the Spurs have it. Van Exel comes back 1-on-2. And it's out of bounds, so it'll be Spurs ball with 12 on the 24.
Spurs show a very good patience. Looked like Duncan had a pretty decent shot, but trying to get his teammates involved.
47-35, biggest lead of the game for the Spurs. And the turnover into the hands of Bibby. 3-on-2. Bonzi finishes it.
Well, Mike Bibby delivered that ball just at the right time. Didn't give the defense a chance to react to Bonzi. Kings really need a stop here and kind of cut this lead at the half. They feel a lot better about their chances.
And Duncan, the running hook, no. 47-37. Brad Miller. And that is the 9th Sacramento turnover. Well, Bonzi Wells finishing that. Mike Bibby on the move. And a nice job by Bonzi Wells to finish there. But Jerry, the Kings, that's too many turnovers. 19 last night and 9 already this evening.
Well, it really is. And several of the unforced variety, certainly got to give the Spurs defense credit. I mean, they really react to about everything on the floor.
Now Michael Finley against Corliss. And the lead is back to 12, and the Kings can hold for the final shot. That's the first points from the San Antonio bench. Spurs do not have a foul to give. Bibby with 5, looking like he's going to set up a long jumper. And he hits. Mike Bibby has 15 first half points. 1 second left. And so, through 24 minutes, the Kings have some work to do. The Spurs with a 49-39 lead. Cozen Kara coming up next, and a feature on Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Mike Bibby leading the Kings. Nesterovic in the middle, and it will be Bowen, Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker.
Yeah, Rahim and Brad Miller only 2 points between them. Rahim with those 2, so you know, that's such a key for this team. These guys are big-time scorers, big-time players, so they will have to get their games going here in this half for the Kings to win. All
right, Parker, who had a very impressive first half running the offense, and he gets the Spurs on the board first here in the second half.
Getting right to the paint, spins away from Mike Bibby with a little half hook inside.
Garcia starting for Stojakovic tonight, and his pass intended for Abdur-Rahim. And we just talked about turnovers, and the Kings start the second half with a turnover. Again, let me round out the unit. It's Bibby, Wells with Abdur-Rahim, Miller, and Garcia. Peja sitting it out, as we said, after re-injuring the hand last night in Seattle. By the way, Peja had x-rays. It's negative. It's just a bruise, and whenever it gets hit, it goes numb. And a rare air ball from Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I think we might need to put that in the archives.
Sharif challenging, and he goes right through the defense, and he missed it. And out of bounds off the Spurs.
Sharif kind of thought, didn't somebody hit me in there somewhere? But Kings really need to get something going here. Get this crowd involved in the game. The Spurs so far have just taking the loyal Arco fans out.
Sharif knocked away. Ginobili. Oh, what a move by Manu Ginobili. And how about Garcia hustling back to get a piece of that ball?
Boy, I think he took a hard spill against the metal supports behind the basket. Now watch Manu Ginobili behind his back, past Bibby. Here's Francisco Garcia trying to get involved in the play, and takes a bad step there. Hopefully he's okay. But Ginobili, you see the quickness and explosiveness as Ginobili gets to the basket.
Well, folks, to get on the Kings season ticket waiting list, all you have to do is call 916-928-3650, or better yet, visit kings.com to get on the season ticket waiting list.
And right now the Kings need to get on the scoreboard.
And Bibby tried to draw the foul. Nope. And the Kings now in trouble. This is where the Spurs, they'll step on the accelerator here, and they'll try to bury you up 53-39.
Well, as you said, they just keep coming both ends, offensively and defensively. They do what they do. Kind of like a old Green Bay Packers football team. They run off tackle all the time.
And it comes out to Rasso, 2 on the shot clock, the 3, and that's a rebound by Bonzi Wells. And Jerry, the Kings offensively have to start getting Brad Miller involved, don't they? I mean, he has not scored yet.
They absolutely do, and the Spurs have taken Brad out of the game, but the Kings have got to make sure they get him in the game.
Well, here he is. And that was a good look. It just didn't fall.
Well, I think Brad knows that he's got to knock some of those down to really make the offense work.
I tell you, Brad's not running real well at the moment. He's got a sleeve on that left shin. He gets the rebound, but Brad is laboring up and down the court.
Yes, he sure is. I don't know if that's re-injured that in some way.
And how about Sharif from downtown? Sharif Abdur-Rahim with the 3-point field goal. And that is his first of the season.
Well, I think he just instinctively knew that the Kings needed that. And boy, did they.
Brad had an injury in that same area of the leg last year that became a real problem for him. And Parker gets through the Kings defense, and he has 17. You see Brad top of the screen. Again, he's just not running real well. He's never been a track star, but right now you can really see him laboring up and down the court. And a foul on Nesterovic. See the sleeve on the shin of Brad Miller's left leg.
Get a good look at Sharif as Mike Bibby behind the back. Brad Miller finds Sharif spotted up, and boy, nice stroke. A little bit of arch on that ball.
Here's Bibby over Nesterovic. And Duncan has it for San Antonio. And a nice pass and a foul by Miller on Nesterovic.
Great look from Manu Ginobili. Didn't look like he had anywhere to go, but just blasted the ball in there to Rasho Nesterovic. But Nesterovic looks very aggressive here tonight.
So Nesterovic to the foul line for the first time. San Antonio 8 of the 11 from the line here so far, and that's good. 107.9 the end, 7th annual Jingle Ball at Arco Arena. It takes place Thursday, December 1st. It features the Pussycat Dolls. I know that's your favorite. Frankie J. Lifehouse and more. Tickets on sale through Ticketmaster or right here at the Arco Arena box office.
Well, the officials calling that off for some reason. I don't.
Well, Nesterovic will get it back as Sharif stepped into the lane.
Whoop, I think he did it again.
Yeah.
He forgot to say, may I.
57-42. And against this team, and we're talking about, you know, the world champs and an excellent defensive team, you better not fall behind any more than 15 or you really don't have much of a chance to win this game.
They have really got to get something going here and get a little momentum, not just to put the points on the board, but nice strong drive by Sharif right at Duncan. Really created the action and created the foul.
Nice job by the Kings to pound it inside, and they get rewarded with some free throws.
Yeah, right now the Kings really just kind of struggling. Where can we go for offense? And other than Mike Bibby, who kind of provided it in the first half, you know, and he's struggled a little bit here at the start. So Sharif knows he's got to get it going. Brad Miller knows he's got to get it going, and so I think everyone knows what needs to be done. It's a matter of getting it done.
Fourth foul on Nesterovic. You talked about, you know, the Spurs playing Brad Miller tough. What are they doing that's preventing Brad Miller from getting, you know, shots in this game?
Well, one of the things they really are making it tougher to get the ball where he likes to on that elbow area. They pushed him out a little bit further, playing him tighter, and then more importantly, they're making it tough for him to find cutters. I mean, that's what good defensive teams. They're taking away what Brad likes to do after he catches the ball. So it's a situation where Brad will just have to adjust and realize it's going to be a lot tougher to do the things that he normally does.
Duncan lost it. To the floor goes Duncan and a jump ball. Brad Miller, and Brad now grimacing as it looks like he landed on his elbow. Brad right now is a hurting customer.
Now you see Manu Ginobili coming off, trying to get the ball inside to Duncan, loses control, and you see Brad Miller diving, Duncan diving, Raheem diving, a little WWE wrestling there, rolling around.
Yeah, Brad feeling it. And Ginobili and the Spurs have it. 10 on the shot clock here in the third quarter with 8:10 left. Ginobili a three. No good. And Duncan has it.
Long shots, long rebounds. Duncan just an extra length to get that ball.
Boy, look at Ginobili move without the ball. Nice pass from Duncan to Mohammed. Boy, how about that? Duncan sees the double team and boom, ball right into the hands of Mohammed.
But there's nothing Tim Duncan can't do. I think the fact he's not flashy, a lot of people don't realize that. Putting the ball on the floor with his left hand, draws all the white shirts, finds Mohammed at the basket. That's just a big-time player making a very difficult play, and he does it and makes it look easy. I mean, the number of 6'11", 7-foot guys that can penetrate with the offhand and make a pass inside the lane is a pretty slim group.
And Rick Adelman calls a timeout. It's 58-44. And the Kings down 14 here in the third quarter. Well, Rick Adelman talking to the troops. His team down 58-44 with 7:53 left in the third quarter. The Kings, after tonight, Jerry, they host New Jersey, Toronto, and Charlotte. And Rick Adelman with his team looking like it's going to be difficult to win this, although obviously there's tons of time. But the San Antonio Spurs, world champs for a reason, not conceding tonight's game. But the bottom line is, should the Kings lose tonight, they're pretty much going to have to win the next 3 games on this homestand to get back to 500 and get the ball rolling. And seeing some good things tonight, though, from Francisco Garcia starting for Peja Stojakovic. Mike Bibby having a solid game.
Well, what Rick Adelman is wanting to focus on is getting, just go be a good basketball team. You're playing a great basketball team. Go play well, fight to compete. They're competing very hard. You may have a chance to get back in this game here pretty soon. But what the Spurs are doing, very simply, they're getting the ball in the hands of their great player and letting him make plays, and that's exactly what's happening. But this is the NBA, and momentum swings quite regularly. So you've just got to keep competing, and maybe it'll start swinging for you.
Kenny Thomas. And the rebound taken by the Spurs.
You see the type of shots that the Kings get just really aren't as easy as shots as the Spurs get. Of course, so much of it does depend on Tim Duncan or Parker making individual plays for their teammates.
But it seemed on that last possession that Kenny Thomas had his shot that he wanted, and he put it on the floor and drove and then threw it to Bibby. Kings come up with a good defense there. Sharif. And no whistle. And Rick Adelman almost came out of his shoes, and here's Parker the other way. And that's goaltending. But you got to love the effort. Absolutely love that effort of Bonzi Wells.
Bonzi Wells took Tony Parker. I mean, he might have ended Tony's career dating Eva Longoria on that play, because he took Tony Parker into the second row, but he wasn't going to give him an easy layup, and that may be what it takes to get the Kings a little bit fired up.
61-44. Kings 1 of 7 to start this quarter. And Sharif, and that does get the whistle, and he'll go to the line.
Oh, and boy, you really got to like Sharif here. I mean, really went hard to the basket, didn't get the call. Now Bonzi Wells gets it back. Sharif, little ball fake, and he just powers right to the glass, takes the crunch from Nazr Mohammed. So Sharif says, hey, I'm going to keep bringing it. You guys keep bringing what you got too. And you got to like that. The 2 new guys, Bonzi Wells and Sharif, showing you a lot of physical presence out here.
61-46. And Sharif looking for his 10th point of the ball game.
I just love Bonzi's attitude, though. I mean,
that's great.
He makes no bones about it. He said, I'm going to play physical, and I'm going to sting some guys. I'm just not going to get easy stuff around me.
Well, that's a welcome attitude. And a foul there on Mike Bibby. That's the 4th team foul on Sacramento. Mike Bibby with his 3rd.
But Tony Parker, you've just seen the maturation of this young point guard. Every year he's gotten a little better. He always had great quickness. Now he's got quickness with a purpose.
Well, you talk about really the late first-round draft pick of Parker and developing into a star. Now, of course, he's playing with great players, but he is really, as you said, matured.
There's the power guard, Bonzi Wells. Yeah, that's the thing about this Spurs team. You got to really admire. I mean, Parker, late first-round pick, Bowen, a free agent. Obviously, Duncan, a great player. Picking up Nazr Mohammed for Malik Rose. I mean, a great trade there. So, Popovich, they just did a great job putting this team together around the great player like Tim Duncan.
Duncan looking for his first points in the quarter. Stolen. Here come the Kings. Here's Bibby. Mike all the way, and he got right by Michael Finley, and now this crowd is alive. 61-50 with 5:45 left here in the quarter.
Boy, just a beautiful individual effort by Mike Bibby. With that nice long stride, getting away from the 6'10" Nazr Mohammed to make the hoop.
Chance of defense here from the crowd. Parker.
And that's why the Spurs are good. They have an answer.
Parker has 21 points, the highest scorer in the ball game, and it's now 63-50. Sharif, no. Rebound, Finley.
Spurs used to be really just a half-court team. Now they're still great in the half-court, but they'll push it and look for easy shots.
Duncan, too hard off the window, and the rebound taken by Sharif. And he says, young man, I'll take it.
Took Garcia and threw him away.
Here's Bonzi Wells. And he thought he was fouled, and he gets into the face of the official. And Eddie F. Rush did not hit him with a technical. Bowen, this is his bread and butter, but he missed it. Rebound Garcia.
Well, King's fortunate there. Bonzi may have got fouled, but it makes no difference. You got to run back because Bruce Bowen had a wide open three.
Bonzi still arguing with the official, and then finally, and you know what, I will say this. I give Eddie F. Rush a lot of credit there. And as you look at Mike Bibby coming through the defense, but you know what, Jerry? He allowed Bonzi to vent up and down the court, and then finally he had enough. But he gave Bonzi time, and Bonzi, he kept on going.
Yeah, at some point you gotta leave it alone, and really Bonzi should have left it alone while the ball was alive anyway, because Bowen got a wide open three because of it. Bonzi may very well have been fouled, but the call is not going to be changed during live action. Here you see Bonzi go up there.
He was fouled on the way up the first time before he really shot the ball.
Yeah, it looked like Nazi Muhammad got him on the way up.
And a whistle and a foul called on Sacramento, and now Bonzi's getting very upset. Bonzi with the foul.
Getting the first technical foul.
And Sharif has just got hit with a technical foul. Well, Eddie F. Rush is losing his patience at the moment. He's had enough.
Yeah, King's very frustrated right now. And Rick Allen wants to take a 20-second timeout to calm things down, get his team back under control.
And they'll have to wait to shoot the free throws. Well, they got the crowd riled up.
Well, this may actually work for the Kings' advantage. Crowd's really incensed with the couple of non-calls or no calls.
Well, again, I can't fault the first technical on Bonzi Wells. Eddie F. Rush let him go both lengths of the court and listen to him, and then finally he had enough. So,
well, no, yeah, you absolutely. If you're going to call the game, you got to call the game. Regardless of whether the call was missed, it looked like from our angle that it was. But at some point, calls are missed, and there've been calls missed against the Spurs.
So Bonzi Wells thoroughly frustrated at the moment. And, when you're down double digits, you can't give away points against the world champs. That's something you just can't do. And here they are making 2 points off technicals.
Sharif having his words with Eddie F. Rush, and gets a tee for his trouble as well. So as you said, I think the officiating crew have pretty much decided where they're going to be the rest of the game. What Rick Allen told his guys, let's take some of the emotion, let's go play basketball. Not worry about the calls, let's just play.
Parker. Oh boy, what a quick move by Tony Parker.
Well, Mike Bibby went for a steal out at the free throw line, didn't get it anymore. When you go for a steal on Parker, you're going to get rewarded with a layup, and that's what happened.
Bibby fouled. And he'll get 2 free throws here. Tim Duncan with the personal foul.
Duncan not too happy about that either, but there again, the call is going to stand. I'm pretty sure of that. Mike Bibby using the great penetrating ability.
And now Brent Berry is going to come in. Bowen out. So Mike Bibby at the foul line, where he has 17 points tonight. 7 of 17 floor, 3 of 3 line. Well, watching the Kings here, an awesome experience. Crowd getting into it at the moment. And the Kings will be taking on the Raptors, the Bobcats, after the New Jersey game. And there are still a limited number of tickets available for both games. And all you have to do is log on to kings.com for more information.
Well, the Nets, Richard Jefferson, Vince Carter, Jason Kidd, that's 3 of the most exciting players in the league on one team.
They're playing in Golden State tonight. Here's Duncan. Missed it. And a rebound, Bonzi Wells. Bibby. Nope. Duncan stood his ground. And now a foul on Bibby going for that rebound against Tim Duncan. And Mike not happy with that call. Mike Bibby with the personal foul, and he'll get a delay of game warning here too, I would think.
Well, here's Mike Bibby going right at Duncan, trying to draw the foul. Duncan stands his ground pretty good. Now Mike really being aggressive, going for the ball.
That's a foul. He got him on the arm. And so Duncan will shoot 2 free throws as the Kings are in the penalty. Tim Duncan has 14 along with 15 rebounds.
Well, this is a Duncan-like performance.
The thing about Duncan, too, he is such a clutch player and has been ever since coming in from Wake Forest and, of course, the Twin Towers. He started with David Robinson and was such a formidable team there. But when Robinson left, Duncan, he took center stage, and he has been as good as there really has been in the league over the years.
Yeah, I actually thought he took center stage with Robinson there. I mean, I really thought as a rookie he was actually better than David Robinson, and because David was on the decline. But he's the one that, won the championship. He was the guy, and David was a valuable player on that team, but Tim Duncan was the most valuable player.
Yeah, he was also the Rookie of the Year, obviously, that season. 69, 52.
But no, he's just been a great player from day one in this league. One of those guys that when you have the #1 pick, you want one of those guys to be available, and it doesn't always work that way.
Well, what made the Spurs so good, they really weren't worthy of the #1 pick. The point being, the only reason why they had the #1 pick is they had basically the entire team injured. But they were a very, very good basketball team. But due to the fact that everybody was injured, they fell into the lottery and they got lucky.
Yeah, Robinson was injured, Sean Elliott was injured that year, and then they fell in the lottery and they got Tim Duncan. Much like the way they got David Robinson. They weren't near the worst team, but they got the #1 pick that year as well.
Timeout, 2:51 left, and it's 69-52 here in the third quarter.
Perimeter jump shots, and from that point on, he's been basically getting in the paint. Last season, 16-6. This season, 21 points a game, 23 here tonight. But like I said, I agree with Duncan. I mean, he is much better outside shooter than he was a few years ago, and that makes it much easier to penetrate because guys are scared of the outside shot.
Here's Garcia. Nice pass to Thomas, and he is fouled.
Well, you see what Francisco Garcia does bring to the table. I mean, he has skills. I mean, the guy's 6'6", 6'7", and has the ability to break people down. Now watch this. Gets into the paint, sees the old man, just blasted in there to Kenny Thomas, and Kenny drew the foul.
And Jerry, barring injury, as we just heard from Duncan and Parker, but barring injury, and I'm talking about really Tim Duncan, it's hard to imagine anybody in the West beating the San Antonio Spurs this year in a series.
Well, right today, I mean, there's only one team that maybe could, and I think that would be Dallas, because they have maybe even a more gifted roster top to bottom, but they don't have Tim Duncan. And,
right.
So I hate to break the news to him.
Yeah.
But that's where it is today, and that's mid-November, and of course a lot of things can change around the league, and I expect it will.
69-54. 2:25 left. And the rebound by Sharif.
Well, we see without Shaquille O'Neal, the Miami Heat gets beat by the Toronto Raptors. So, injuries play such a role in this league. And
look at Phoenix without Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, absolutely become pretty common.
Thomas fouled.
Well,
so the Kings getting to the line here in the third quarter.
Well, Kenny Thomas showing you some aggressiveness. And
Kenny Thomas has not made a field goal. He's 0 of 5.
Well, Greg Popovich knows momentum might be starting to turn here a little bit in the Kings' favor, so you see Ginobili getting ready to check in pretty quickly.
So it's 69-55. The Spurs have been stuck at 69 for a while, and Brent Berry out, Manu Ginobili in.
Yeah, what Rick Adelman would like to see is a little run here before the quarter. If they could get back to 10, just exactly what it was at the half, they'd feel pretty good and still have a great chance if anything kind of starts breaking their way in the fourth.
13-point game.
And the crowd just waiting for
That's exactly right.
I mean, just waiting for some reason to try to help out here.
The follow by Mohammed.
Nazir Mohammed Like you said earlier, what a great pickup from the New York Knicks. Between he and Nesterovic. I mean, that gives him a nice, nice blend at that position. Split the time and give Tim Duncan some help.
Sharif does not have the shooting touch tonight. He's 3 of 10. Finley. And the rebound by the Kings.
Boy, nice rebound. Kenny Thomas, a couple of black shirts in there, but he just went over the top.
And Sacramento turns it over. That's the 13th turnover. Too many turnovers. We had a game last night, Jerry, where the Kings turned it over 19, and so far 13 turnovers with 13 minutes of basketball left. And Alberto, no. Garcia with the rebound. 4th rebound for Francisco. And another turnover. .71-56. Final minute here of the third quarter. And Ginobili missed it. And a foul called, and it's on Mohammed. So the Kings will go to the other end of the floor and shoot free throws, and a chance to make it a 13-point game.
Well, the turnovers have really plagued whatever opportunity the Kings may have had to get a little run going. Seems like about the time they make a couple of hoops in a row, then they'll turn it over a couple times.
And now Rasho Nesterovic will come in after the first free throw.
Nick Van Exel walked up and tried to encourage Sharif.
4th foul on Mohammed. He and Nesterovic with 4 fouls apiece.
I think the thing that surprises people, I don't think you're surprised by how good San Antonio is, but fans are a little surprised at how tough it is for the Kings to score. Obviously you take Peja Stojakovic out of the lineup. That's one of the reasons. There's several, but just the fact it's basically a new team, but just hard to get enough points on the board for a team that used to score so easily.
Well, they only allow their opponents to score 89 per game.
Yeah, and they came in with an 8-point win margin, which is terrific.
So Jason Hart the foul, Michael Finley to the line with 23 seconds remaining. Spurs 16 of 19 from the foul line in this one, and I said Finley, I meant Nick Van Exel. Van Exel, his first trip to the line, and he connects. 72-58. Van Exel has the very weird free throw style. He actually is 2 feet behind the line. Look at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes when he'd get on those shooting benches, you think he probably should have shot behind the 3-point line. I mean, the guy was remarkable, especially those Dallas years. Spurs into a little bit of a zone defense here in the last possession. Just trying to keep the Kings on the perimeter.
Garcia, now the draw and kick. Sharif, 8 to shoot, looks at the clock. Sets up Jason Hart. Wells. Good effort, but that's it. Third quarter over. And Sacramento enters the fourth trailing by 15. At the end of 3 quarters, it's San Antonio 73. 73-58 as we get ready to start the fourth. We'll be with you on Wednesday. Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, and the rest of the New Jersey Nets in town. We'll have it for you. House Party Live at 6:30 and all the action at 7 o'clock. Well, the Kings will start the fourth quarter with Jason Hart, Fonzie Wells, Garcia, Thomas, and Abdul Rahim. Spurs with Van Exel, Finley, Ginobili, and Nesterovic on the floor. Also coming out for the San Antonio Spurs is Alberto.
The Kings need to establish a little something here quickly.
Yeah, especially with Tim Duncan on the bench.
Need about a 7 or 8 point run here real quick. And
pretty drive.
That is a beautiful drive by Francisco Garcia. Used his quickness and then shielded his body, the ball with his body to get the hoop. So you see a little more from the young guy all the time. No reason this guy can't be a terrific player.
And Finley answers back.
It's like Michael Finley's been a terrific player for a lot of years. Francisco Garcia is going to be one for a lot of years.
8 points for Francisco, who's now at the top of the screen. And Sharif, offensive foul.
Now watch Francisco. Here's Manu Ginobili. Nice screen from Sharif. Little hesitation. And just a sweet little roll and kiss off the glass.
Got to tuck his shirt in, though. All right, come on. This is the NBA. Tuck the shirt in, would you please? 75-60.
Well, he's going to get be taking a lot out of that rookie paycheck. If,
yeah, because I'll tell you, Stu Jackson will be sending him a little fine notice.
Yeah, he'll get the message. He'll be taping that thing down.
Yeah. You always said it so well. He goes, when you talk about players doing this or that, and you said, did you ever see Michael Jordan with his shirt undone, or Larry Bird or these guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one thing that always amazed me. I mean, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, they never had their shirts up. I thought they were pretty good players. Didn't seem to hurt them.
It was funny. The official just told Francisco, he's sitting there talking to him right now, saying, hey, you got to keep that shirt tucked in.
Yeah, you can tie it up a little tighter there, son. But I say the thing that always used to upset me is the players that come into games and never be ready.
Right, that happens a lot.
And like I say, Michael Jordan, who's the greatest player that ever lived, when he came into the game, his shirt, it was ready to play.
Yep, that's funny. Francisco, is funny over there, Rodney Mott telling him about attire on the court. He said, we know about the dress code off the court, but there's also one on the floor as well, Francisco.
Yeah, and your paycheck could be lighter if you don't realize that.
In the meantime, it's 77-60. Minute into this fourth quarter. Jason Hart, three-pointer, nope. And Thomas with the good rebound.
Oh, a beautiful rebound. Kenny Thomas just flying through black shirts.
Francisco, here he is again. And his pass knocked out of bounds. 15 on the shot clock. And the ball kicked.
Little discussion with the table.
Well, they're talking about the shot clock. So they're going to put 15 on. Brad Miller, who has not scored a point tonight. Garcia has a big man on him. And a foul on the Spurs as Garcia dished it off. 10:31 now left in the fourth. Nesterovic with his fifth foul. That's the first team foul.
Brad, not often do you see a big zero there.
And Garcia missed it. Kenny Thomas following, and it counts. So go to the line looking for the three-point play.
Boy, Kenny Thomas, that's just a great effort. He's had 2 rebounds on this end. The last couple of sequences just spectacular here. Francisco trying to get the ball, but there's Kenny Thomas going over the top of everybody. Another look at it. Francisco penetrating, and there's Kenny with the explosion.
(77-63). That was the first basket for Kenny Thomas.
Well, Kenny seems to be getting more and more comfortable. I think that's very encouraging to Rick Alvin. I mean, the last few games coming off the bench has been very productive, so that's such a key of this team that's going to get better.
There's Finley with the three. Comes out to Ginobili, and a pass broken up by Bonzi Wells. Kings have it, and they come back in transition. Garcia steps on the accelerator, puts it up and in. What a pretty move by the first-year player from Louisville, Francisco Garcia.
Well, just exploded. A little change of pace. Garcia right to the basket. So Francisco showing these fans there's some game in number 32.
Garcia with 10. And the Kings now down
in there with the finger roll. Not quite as good as the Iceman used to do, I must admit. But 10 points on 5 of 8, 4 rebounds.
All right, time left. Kings need to continue this momentum. The Spurs have Tim Duncan in. 12 on the shot clock. Ginobili. And it's knocked away from him. Here comes Garcia and the Kings. Now Francisco slows it up and gives to Hart. So the Kings with a chance to cut it to 10 or maybe 9.
Good decision by Francisco. The numbers weren't there. That's what you should do when you don't have the numbers.
Bonzi posting on Bowen. Duncan comes over to help. Brad Miller, 3 to shoot. Garcia, a 3. And Bonzi with the rebound. Missed it. And look out, Ginobili, and it's 79-65.
Well, Kings just had a great chance to cut into this.
3 minutes gone by, fourth quarter. And Bonzi with another rebound. That's his 12th rebound. Oh, what a pretty move up and under by Bonzi Wells.
Well, that's where Bonzi's the best. Around that basket where he can use his power. Really not a consistent jump shooter thus far this year. But just doing a great job. Hustle plays, getting to the basket, second effort opportunities.
Van Exel. And how many times have we seen that move right there kill the Kings?
More than I can count on any fingers and toes that are available.
Yep, he would definitely be on your all-opponent team in the Reynolds Remembers 20 years, wouldn't he?
Oh, he would. He has been unguardable over the years. Watch Bonzi Wells here. The shot comes off from Jason Hart. Nice hustle and track down by Bonzi. Bruce Bowen thinks going to go out with it. He takes it in right at Tim Duncan. It goes under the basket.
Yep. There's no question that in your starting 5 on the all-opponent team over the 20 years, Van Exel would be definitely without question in that 5. And another member of the Spurs that we have not seen tonight, Robert Horry, would also be in there.
Oh, Robert Horry. I don't even want. I was talking to him again before the game. I told him I had a chapter about him called Robert Roof because.
That's right. And here's the steal, Wells, and he's fouled. So now a chance to make 81-70.
Well, Bonzi is still playing hard, still competing. We haven't seen Robert Horry tonight, but I was telling Robert, I said, man, you and you're the Lakers. You cost me a roof on my house with that shot, and he said, good.
He laughed. You get your big playoff bonus going to the finals.
He said good, but
oh man,
holy moly, Jim Bob Bowler.
Somebody opened up the door.
Check the wind resistance there. There may have been an 80-mile-an-hour wind flow in that direction.
Either that or Oakland Polynesians just returned to the team.
But see, Bonzi gets that guide hand. His left hand fights against his shooting hand at times. That's why it's inconsistent. He really needs to work on just getting a nice free-flowing shot without using the guide hand strictly as a guide hand, not involved in the shot.
81-69. And Wells with a steal. Bonzi Wells. And with 7:50 left, the Kings won't go away.
Well, doing it on hustle. I mean, Francisco Garcia, Bonzi Wells, Kenny Thomas. I mean, you're seeing a lot of effort and hustle.
Well, here's the real key, Jerry, about getting back to the game. That's the 15th foul on the Spurs. And with 7:47 left, the Kings, if they make free throws, they can get back in this game.
They certainly can. And, they really have not had a stretch where they've made shots either, which, I mean, that's always a possibility, believe it or not, that they can start making some perimeter shots to go with all the hustle.
Garcia now with 11.
Bonzi, I think, has got a sore hand as well. And he's got a good reason to have a sore hand. I mean, he's got his hands on everything.
Yep, and Francisco now with 12 points.
Well, fans they're really liking what they see with just the effort of this basketball team, and you do have to admire effort.
Duncan.
Kenny Thomas trying to guard the much bigger Tim Duncan.
And here come the Kings. Francisco with Jason Hart. Nice job to kick it back out and set up.
Did not have anything. Good transition defense by the Sonics.
Jerry, a basket here and this place will erupt.
I may erupt here.
Bonzi over Duncan. Nope. Well short. And Miller to the floor. Keeps it alive. Here's Bonzi. Blocked by Duncan. Bonzi stays with it. Look at that hustle, but into the hands of Mohammed. Wow. What effort by Bonzi Wells.
Bonzi is just trying so hard. But somebody's got to tell Bonzi that don't shoot those jumpers for a while. Just do all the other good stuff you're doing. Turn down those jumpers for a while.
Duncan. Well, that's why the Spurs have won 3 world championships, because whenever a team gets close, they just give the ball to Duncan. 83-71. What a big sequence that was. But the Spurs are back up by 12. Timeout on the floor with 6:35 left. Back to live action. Again, if you're joining us, no Peja Stojakovic tonight. And welcome to the game, Brad Miller. That's his first basket. 10-point game. Brad Miller, 1 of 4. And now the crowd back into it. 6 minutes, 10 seconds left. Parker. Stolen by Garcia. He's got help. Bonzi all the way. Oh, boy. 83-75.
Well, you have seen momentum switch, and it is officially wearing white.
Boy, if the Kings can get to within 4 or 5, put the pressure on the Spurs. Mohammed gets by Brad Miller. He's fouled. No, but he'll go to the line.
Watch this, a great anticipation here. Francisco Garcia gets a hand in that passing lane, and then beautifully timed pass to a slashing Bonzi Wells. Francisco gets it out there right, and Bonzi taking it the elevator shaft to the top with a throwdown.
Well, if nothing else, and I mean that in the sense that if the Kings don't win, the one thing they have found out tonight is that Francisco Garcia is a player. And we knew that based on preseason. He kind of got set back a little bit, Jerry, when he had the injury where he turned his ankle. But we are seeing very encouraging signs from Francisco tonight.
Absolutely are. Well, I get a chance to see him every day in practice, and the young man's got game. Now he really needs to. Sometimes he gets a little ahead of himself and confuses himself with Magic Johnson a little early. But he's got the skills to be a special player in the league, and I think the opportunity to play, with veteran guys has really helped him as well. He, as a reserve, always coming in with the reserves was a little hard for him to adjust to, I think.
Well, 2 big free throws there, 85-75.
But 10 points, about 6 minutes, plenty of time.
One thing that's really hurt the Kings tonight without Peja Stojakovic is their 3-point shooting. Only 1 3-point field goal. And that was by Sharif. Here's Bibby, stops, pops, yes.
Well, what you're seeing now is what I really feel like this team can do. Francisco Garcia is handling the basketball against the 2-guard. Mike Bibby is coming off screens and really becoming the shooting guard, shooting over smaller point guards. Much like Doug Christie did with Mike some years ago.
Oh, that's an offensive foul. No question about it.
Now watch Francisco Garcia finding Mike Bibby. The screen from Brad Miller. Nazi Mohammed switches off. Too big, too slow. Mike Bibby with the jumper. And now you see Tony Parker going to try to get to the basket. There's the quickness of Kenny Thomas. Puts his body in front.
85-77. Bibby sets up Thomas, and he's fouled by Tim Duncan. And now Thomas and Jerry again. The key here is the Kings getting free throws with the clock stopped. And now this, Jerry, can make it 85-79 if Kenny hits both.
Well, Kenny's got to step up here and knock him down, but again, nice penetrating move, and Kenny took it up strong.
Yep, 5 fouls on Duncan.
Well, that would help too if Duncan would foul out. That's just a
Duncan with 5 fouls, Nesterovic with 5 fouls, Mohammed with 5 fouls, and that's good. McDonald's and Sports 1140 Cage-to-Cage Kings Gold ticket packs for the December 30th game against Boston will only be for sale at the McDonald's restaurant at 170 Iron Point Road in Folsom tomorrow from 5 to 9 in the evening. Just call 916-45-KINGS or visit kings.com for more information. So Pop takes Duncan and Bowen out with 4:53 left.
Well, this is a great opportunity for the Kings. Certainly now, this game is very manageable and no Duncan.
6-point game.
Well, you know that if it gets that much closer, you'll see as the turnovers have all went for the Kings, 7 on the Spurs. And whoever values the ball the best usually has a great chance to win.
Gotta figure your offense is going to come from either Parker or Ginobili. Ginobili. Air ball, rebound Miller.
Well, Francisco Garcia challenging that shot by Ginobili. About the same size physically and almost as much quickness.
The energy is back here at Arco Arena. A 12-4 run for the Kings, and a foul will send Bibby to the line. And this is where the Kings really, Jerry, take advantage of early foul trouble by San Antonio. They get free throws and a chance to make it a 4-point game.
Well, here's a screen by Miller, and Nazr Mohammed just not quick enough to get in front of Mike Bibby.
And Mohammed's gone. That's his 6th.
So the momentum is changed, and this Arco faithful definitely involved.
And that will get Duncan right back in. Remember, Tim Duncan has 5 fouls. Well, you'll hear an ovation if Duncan gets fouled out of this game in the next 90 seconds or so.
Well, certainly where the Spurs are fortunate having Nazr Mohammed and Nesterovic both. I mean, now, obviously losing Duncan, you cannot replace Duncan, but you do have 2 other big, solid, pretty solid basketball players over there.
And Mike is now 6 of 6 from the line. Jerry, the Kings were down 17. Now it's 85-80.
Well, it's the NBA, just like I said. Momentum comes and it goes.
Yes,
and
it does.
Now, it is with the guys in white. And the reason the guys in white have got it, Bonzi Wells and Francisco Garcia, just great second and third efforts, got everybody involved.
So there's the run for the Kings. Tim Duncan, by the way, has made only 1 field goal here in the second half. You would think he's going to touch the ball in this possession. Thomas is fronting Duncan. Parker, baseline jumper. No good! Rebound Bibby, and here come the Kings. Bad pass. Jerry, bad time for a turnover.
Now, Kenny really could have caught that ball, but definitely Mike was up in the air, but really I think Kenny should have caught that ball.
Boy, that was a hard pass, though. In any event, it's San Antonio with a chance after they had just missed a shot from the baseline. Duncan. Where's the help going to come? No help. And now they do, but they foul Duncan. And with 3:28 left, Duncan, a much improved free throw shooter.
Yeah, that was his weakness in years past, shooting 80% almost this year.
So Tim Duncan tonight, just 2 of 2. Serious Kings fans need serious Kings coverage, the kind you'll find every day in the Sacramento Bee. Just call 1-800-2-THE-BEE and save 44% on your daily home delivery. The Sacramento Bee sports coverage as passionate as you are. Duncan has 19 and a chance to make it 87-81.
Oh, got a little shooter's roll there.
So it's a 6-point game.
But I really like this with Garcia running the offense a little bit. Mike Bibby going to more of the shooting guard role with the smaller Tony Parker guarding him. That really creates a lot of problems for the Spurs.
And a foul there. And boy, I'll tell you, the Kings are doing a tremendous job of getting free throws here in this 4th quarter.
Well, the big guys for the Spurs trying to jump out and stop penetration by Mike Bibby, but all they're really doing is putting Mike Bibby on the line. You see, Nazr Mohammed did it 2 straight times, same play. Alberto trying to get in position. Mike Bibby just turns the corner, going too quick for the bigger man to establish any kind of position. And so Robert Ruff enters the game.
And you heard the boos as soon as he stepped onto the floor.
Yeah, actually one of them was me.
Yep.
But boy, what a clutch player Robert Horry's been over the years. You just got to, you really do have to admire him. I mean, he's just.
Well, he's the reason why you and I aren't wearing NBA World Championship rings.
And I am not going to forget it, but I do admire him.
I'll take the ring over the roof, by the way. 87-83.
Well, I definitely would do that too.
Yeah. 4-point game. Ginobili gets the step. Foul, basket counts.
Well, just an outstanding individual move by Manu Ginobili, just exploding to the basket.
Kenny Thomas on the personal.
Now you see Manu just taking the screen, and Francisco Garcia got picked by Duncan. Wasn't a whole lot he had to trail the play. Kenny Thomas a little slow in helping, although Kenny has to worry about Tim Duncan primarily.
7-point game.
Well, you just got to love the way this bunch of Kings have battled and scrapped and put themselves in a position.
No question. Been an outstanding effort for the Kings tonight. And unfortunately, they have turned it over for the 17th time.
Yeah, Francisco's got to shoot that ball. You know, 7 or 8 feet. If you're open, shoot it. Got the Kings back in a reasonable position, and that guy, young man, Francisco Garcia, Bonzi Wells, Kenny Thomas, they've all really stepped up and put out the effort.
.245 left. Duncan, in and out, and a foul. Oh boy, they've got the Kings on a foul here. So, Brad Miller is called for the personal. Is it Brad or Kenny Thomas? Looks like it's Kenny Thomas, I beg your pardon. Third foul on Thomas.
Both Kenny and Brad really going hard in there. I mean, you love to see the effort and the tenacity that those guys are putting out, but unfortunately got caught.
Robert Horry at the line. Why wasn't he rebounding like that in the game that you talked about in your book?
Well, like I say, that was a bad play by Horry. You know, the power forward standing out in the middle of the floor. They were 2 points down. They took 2 shots at the basket, and your power forward still standing out past the three-point line. He was in the wrong position.
Best mistake he ever made.
But it worked out for him, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. 91-83, and the Kings are in trouble now.
Well, they really just need to get a score. And like I say, you just get a score here, and you've got it back to a 2-2 possession game. With the foul trouble the Spurs are in, that 2 possessions can be 3-pointers every time, just like Bonzi Wells going hard to the basket.
Well, he also knows Duncan's playing with 5 fouls, and Duncan let him go through. 91-85. You know Duncan's going to touch the ball here. He stumbles, almost turned it over, 5 to shoot. Parker, off balance, rebound, Bonzi Wells, his 14th. Still time left.
Find your point guard, Bonzi Wells with a good rebound. Boy, good defense on Parker and Duncan.
Bibby wide open. 4-point game.
Plenty of time now. 24 points. 140. About 7 or 8 possessions at least.
Ginobili. Kicks out Bowen. And Bowen quiets the crowd with a 3.
Bruce Bowen, that's what he does best.
A minute and a half left, 94-87.
Got to get a score this time.
Bibby, 3. Mike Bibby answers right back. 94-90, you got to get a stop here with a minute 20 left. What a gutsy effort from these Kings tonight. Ten on the shot clock. Here comes Bibby. Duncan turned away from it. Parker kicks out. 4 to shoot. Big offensive rebound, Horry. And now they can run some clock. Last night the Kings couldn't get a rebound they needed, and another instance tonight where the ball was up on the glass, and it was Robert Horry getting the rebound. 6 on the shot clock. And there's Duncan again. Offensive rebound put back. So Jerry, exactly what we saw last night. The inability to get the ball off the glass. The Spurs do, and now they're up 6.
Now that may be the Kings' biggest weakness. Defensive rebounding. Have rebounded well almost the entire game, but not able to get it right there.
Well, Mike Bibby hit a big 3. But right 96-90, Dirty. If you're the Kings, do you have to shoot a 3 here in your mind?
I don't think you do. I think, but you've got to score quickly. You know, Duncan doesn't want to foul out here even at this late day, so try to score quickly. Obviously, get a clean look at the 3, you take it. But if you score quickly, you still can try to get a steal, and if you don't get a steal immediately, then you foul.
Foul Parker if you can.
And foul Parker, and you'll probably get the opportunity to do just that.
Because he's a 64% free throw shooter. Well, they set up a 3. Bibby launches the 3. There it is!
Oh, boy.
Ginobili And you certainly would rather not foul him, but you may not have a choice.
Well, you will get it back if you can stop him and have a chance to tie with a three.
He wants Kenny Thomas to double to get the ball out of his hands. Parker. And another rebound by the Spurs. But they lose it, and a jump ball. Miller and Ori will jump it up with 7 seconds left. Wow. 7 seconds left. Miller and Ori to jump it.
Watch this play. Very similar to the Peja Stojakovic play. Bibby comes off 2 screens, comes high off Brad Miller, and splash right in the middle. Another look at it. Brad, little dribble handoff. Mike Bibby uses the screen from Brad to go over the top of Parker. And boy, he has got the stroke going as sweet as we have seen. He is major Bibblicious here tonight.
Why is Duncan in the circle? It should be Robert Ori.
Should be Robert Ori. There's a guy that was wrestling around with Brad Miller, so that's who should be in the jump. I think they're maybe going to get a straight.
Well, again, there's 7 seconds left, a 3-point game, and it'll be interesting to see if the Kings win the tap if the Spurs foul. Here we go! Bibby a 3. Nope. But what a gallant effort by the Sacramento Kings tonight, and for the second night in a row, Bibby with a 3 with a chance. But it comes up empty. But I'll tell you, the fans recognize the effort from the Sacramento Kings tonight. Shorthanded, no Stojakovic, a back-to-back, and they take the world champion San Antonio Spurs to the buzzer.
Well, just an absolutely, as you said, great effort. A lot of good things here. Francisco Garcia was just spectacular. You know, showed that he really belongs on the floor, going to get a lot of time. But boy, the effort of Bonzi Wells, Kenny Thomas, I mean, you just have to love what you saw there if you're Rick Alleman.
Yep, it's a loss, but I'll tell you, what a game. 96-93 the final. Spurs.